Hey, it's Kevin Druid here and welcome to another plugin knowledge session. In this session we're going to check out a plugin called BussPressor from PSP. So firstly, if you are new to my channel and you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So BussPressor from PSP. This is a VCA style compressor that is designed to be placed on groups, buses, sub-buses, mix buses, whatever buses, okay? So it's not designed for necessarily for individual tracks, but again, like everything in mixing, there's no actual rules. So if you want to use it on individual tracks, please feel free to do that. But it was designed primarily to be on groups of instruments like buses and mix buses. So anyway, let's just get into it and I'll show you around the plugin. All right, so here we are in Cubase and we have the PSP BussPressor loaded onto a song. So I'm using this sort of at the moment as a, either as, let's just say either in your mastering chain or at least on your mix bus. This can obviously be placed on or anything you like really, but it's designed to go on buses and groups. So you could put it on your drum bus, your guitar bus, or your total mix bus, you know, it's whatever. And it is obviously a compressor. So the BussPressor is designed in a way to function like a vintage or standard style VCA compressor, trying to give us that sort of analog, old time vintage sound with all the benefits of digital, I guess, because we're not limited by any hardware functions here. Now, the layout is fairly simple. You can't extend the window at all, so changing the size is not possible in that regard, but you can actually increase it from here, which is good. I find it a little bit of a weird control, to be honest with you. You know, it seems to be a lot more easier to be able to just click and expand the window, but we'll make it bigger. And it really is like a zoom. If you look at the graphics, like the detail itself starts to become blurry, so it's not really, yeah, it's like a zoom function, I guess is the best way to describe it. So we'll take it down a bit. So we'll show it in its natural form, but right now I'm clicking madly. So you can see there the size of it. To me, with my eyes anyway, and my screen, I find it a little bit small in its default state, but you know, everybody has a different opinion of that. You know, it's not tiny, we can see it. Now, it is a compressor, okay? So simple controls like any other compressor with some slight differences, but let's just run through it. So we have a meter here, and this meter here shows us our gain reduction. You can see there the pop-up that comes up and tells you that anyway. So this is our average gain reduction as it is compressing. We have our attack with a very sort of fast rate there of 0.1 milliseconds up to 100 milliseconds. We have a release control, again, 0.1 milliseconds, I guess, up to, it could be 3, sorry, I read that wrong, that is seconds, so it's 0.1 seconds up to 3 seconds. We have a sidechain high-pass filter that we can vary from 20 hertz up to 2 kilohertz. We have our ratio control here to determine, I guess, the ratio, the amount of compression, you know. So we've got a very subtle 1.5 to 1 all the way up to a almost limiter style of 10 to 1. We've got our threshold control here, which is our main dial. So we're going to tune this in to get our level of where the audio needs to go above for the compressor to kick in and below for the compressor to stop. We have makeup gain, obviously, to make up any gain reduction and loss in volume. We also have the ability to turn on this setting here to allow some of the dry signal to come through, and then we can dial in how much of the dry signal. So this, I guess it's sort of like a mix control in a way. It's going to allow us to do parallel compression within the plugin and not have to set it up in our DAW independently. And this control here sets the output gain of the compressed signal. And we can turn that on or off. But I'm assuming this switch here is our main switch. So this basically turns the plugin on and off. Okay, as opposed to this just turning the dry signal. So this is our makeup gain, but this is, I guess, our main output. I'm not exactly sure why we have two settings here, but maybe this and the dry balanced together. Sort of, it gives you some more options with how you set that up. We also have an auto setting here. So this is an auto release, but it does work a little bit differently to some auto releases in that it's not just a blanket auto release. It is actually based on the setting here. So you dial in this release setting here, and then it does some calculations based on that setting to do some automatic calculations of the release around the time you set here. We also have our sidechain input here, and depending on how we set it up, we have our internal sidechain, which is obviously our high pass filter here, but we can also have it set to an external sidechain if we set it up in our DAW. So we have to obviously set that up in advance in our DAW for it to be an external sidechain. So you might say trigger off a kick drum or something like that. But not only can you have that, but you can dial in a percentage of triggering or, evaluating your compression levels based on a percentage of the internal and a percentage of the external. Or you can go to the extremes of fully external sidechained or fully internal sidechained. And we've got our standard options up here of saving presets, banks. We can compare between A and Bs and obviously help functions, etc. So let's just start flicking things on and off and play through a little bit of music. So this is with the plugin off. Let me turn it on. All right, so at the moment I've got the dry out, so we're only going to be listening to our compressed signal. So let's just play with that. Start with a low compression. It's interesting that it started to move when I moved that down to 1.5. But at a higher rate, it's actually not. Interesting. So we can obviously set our thresholds, start getting a bit of gain reduction going. Being a bus compressor, we're not generally going to be hitting this too hard. Now you can hear we've lost a bit of volume there, so we might dial in some makeup gain. Hit it a bit harder. So we can adjust our attack settings there so we can make it respond really fast or really slow. So we obviously get a lot less movement there. Same with our release, we can go really fast release, get it really dropping back quickly, or slow it down. So we'll just set them back to mid for now. Now we can turn on auto. So if we see here, we have the auto release on. You can see it's still acting a little bit slowish. And you can see that's responding a lot faster with our release, even though we've still got it on auto. But it's not, see how fast that is with it off. It's not responding as fast. It's still doing some automatic adjustments, but it is responding a bit faster. Now, if you also notice here, you'll see that it's responding to the kick a lot. Right, you see it jump up with the kick. Now, if we wind up the internal sidechain, see all the way up at 2K, it's not even responding now. You can see if I crank this up a bit, it's responding mainly to those snare hits and claps. So it's excluded the kick altogether from the detection. So you can see there, it's still responding to the kick, even though I've got it 200 Hertz. So that obviously the kick is quite a broad kick. So bringing it up a little bit higher there is taking a bit more of the kick out. So if you want your compressor to not respond so much to the kick drum, then obviously the sidechain there will do that function. But the other thing you could do is, obviously, if we had it set to external, it would adjust this. Now, I think the fact that I've got no external sidechain set up means it's ignoring it. So you can hear there, right, I've got it on monitor mode now, so we are monitoring the sidechain. You can hear there's no difference, because I don't have a sidechain set up. Now, we could obviously set up a sidechain, and I could just pick something at random, like kick 1. Now, keep in mind, this kick 1 here is just a random kick track. It's not actually a part of this song, so it's not going to match it, but it's this just showing you as an example that if we set this up, we should, in theory, if we turn it on, that usually helps. Now, if I send that to no bus, yep. All right, so let's adjust. I'm just going to adjust our level. Let's just say we take the entire kick drum. All right, so this kick is not actually being heard through anything at the moment. All right, you can't hear that because I've taken the output off it, but it's still being fed to this plugin in the sidechain mode. So we're monitoring it. So we're hearing this kick now. This is what we're hearing when I go to external. If I put it to internal, we hear the song. So internal minus this based on this. Okay, so like if we wind that down and I go monitor, we hear pretty much the entire signal. And if I wind it up, this is what our sidechain is hearing on internal. Okay, so let's wind that back down. So this is what we're hearing. We can still hear. There's plenty of kick there. But it's the top end of the kick. It's not so much of the low end of the kick. Now if we go over here, we're monitoring the kick. And then we can go anywhere in between. So we can have mostly the external sidechain and a little bit of the rest of the signal, or any extreme we want. So if we have it set to the external sidechain there, what you're going to see, if we crank it up, you can see the kick. It's not responding to the music at all. It's responding to that. And you can see the meter jump there. So you can hear a weird pumping effect because I've got it compressing every time that kick hits. Right, and we can sort of go a little bit in between. So it's an interesting setting anyway, something definitely you could play with. I'm not going to use it in this case because it's not really what we wanted to do, but we will take this sidechain off now. We don't need that. Okay, so what else have we got here? So we've gone through most of the controls and the point and function of them. Really what we haven't looked at here is obviously this section here. So this is going to be coming into play with some parallel compression. So if we get this back to a sort of normal sort of setting. All right, so that's off and on. Now, generally with parallel compression, most people usually hit the compressor a lot harder because they're going to blend it in with their dry signal. So let's over compress because we're going to try and simulate that parallel compression where we over compress. Okay, so, and I'm going to turn up the compression to say, we go 5 to 1. We're going to compress pretty heavily. I might speed up the attack, speed up the release. Let's crank the makeup gain. So you can hear that's pretty horribly compressed, right? So now we can add in some dry signal. So we turn it on, and this is the amount of dry signal we've added. So we're adding pretty much nothing. And we can crank it up. We can now turn that down a bit. Okay, and I guess that's the advantage of this one here. So this makeup gain is doing a makeup of the compressed signal. And this is the, oh, it says output gain of the compressed signal. So, yeah, that's, okay, it's not what I thought it would do. I thought there might be an overall level because when you start adding the dry in, you're obviously getting louder. Yeah, it's sort of an unusual combination of these two here because it's a bit of a balancing act between these two signals. So generally, actually, with a parallel compressor, we would do it opposite, okay? So let's say, for instance, so we have this out. Get our compressor dialed in level-wise, so it seems balanced with our makeup gain. Okay, obviously extremely overcompressed. Now, I'm going to turn that down. So in theory, we've pretty much got no volume. And then I'm going to bring in a dry. So this really should be like turning the plug-in on and off. We should really not hear any difference. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial in some of the compressed signal. Now it's naturally going to get louder, but we're also bringing up a lot of that low information by bringing in a very heavily compressed signal. And you can dial in as much or little as you want. So this is how you would do it normally with parallel compression. Your dry signal would be fully on, and then you would dial in a little bit of the compressed. Now, obviously, they've got it set up in a way you could do it the other way around, where you could have all of the compressed signal and dial in a little bit of the dry in the opposite fashion. So we'll just do that again. So let's just try a little bit first. So you can hear it adds a bit more power and a bit more meat to the song. Now, whether you want that, obviously that's your choice. And the higher you push it, the more unnatural it's going to sound, because we start to get a lot more of that over-compressed sound, which is just way too much. So if we do it the opposite way, and we say our compressor is full, and we're going to actually set this to a reasonable compression, all right? So let's just dial some of this back. Let's turn that down before we blow our ears out. We'll we'll put them back. Let's just say we're not going to sidechain, we'll compress everything. Get it to a fairly consistent level. Okay, so we've got some compression. Or maybe you want to compress a little bit more, and you start to lose some of the definition or some of the louder components, and you want to bring some of that back in. All right, so then you might bring in some of your dry. So this might bring in a little bit of that snare or kick that you're losing in the compression. Bring a little bit of that back in by adding the dry signal to get that sort of natural sound. Now again, obviously there's a volume increase, so it's hard to do a sort of before and after comparison there. Now, lastly, we've got obviously some presets here, so you could run through these to see what you got. And like I said, here you go. They've set up parallel drums. So this is their example of parallel drums, and if we look at it, they've got a fairly fast attack, fast release, no sidechain there, thresholds. It's going to be high, but obviously just keep in mind, all right, and I say this a lot with these sort of things, especially with compressors, if you load up a preset, you have to adjust the threshold because it has no idea what audio level you are playing or what type of instrument or anything you've put this on. Okay, use this as a guide to what they believe you should do to get parallel drums, but you need to adjust the threshold at a minimum. You should probably tweak a lot of the settings to suit your music, but if you trust what they've done overall in the settings, you still have to adjust the threshold because they have no idea what level your audio is. So the fact they've set it to 0, your audio may be down here, it may be up here, and it may not respond correctly. So you need to adjust that threshold at a minimum. So they've gone for a very heavy ratio, 10:1. Obviously, they've pushed the makeup gain because they're expecting this to compress quite a lot. And they are blending in the dry and the compressed almost at the same value, but a little bit less compressed signal and a little bit more dry. So if we have a listen. So you can see how hard that's hitting. So you might want to adjust this threshold so it's not hitting so much. Or you might want it to go even harder. So that's an example of that. But, you know, in the case of what we've got it on here, parallel mix. There you go. There's another example. So this is them putting it on the mix bus, but still doing parallel compression. So in this case here, what we've gone for is still a fairly fast release. Tiny bit of sidechain in this case here, not much, but just reducing out some of that real low-end sub information. Slowed the attack down a lot, so it's a lot more gentler being on the mix bus. The ratio's still fairly high, 3.5, but that's because they're doing this as parallel compression. High makeup gain. And then again, they're blending the compressed and the dry together, and it's identically even. So they have reduced the level to compensate for having both signals going through instead of having them set to 0 and 0 and it being a lot louder. They've actually compensated. So that way we don't get such a big volume increase with it on and off. But again, you need to adjust your threshold to suit because that might not be enough compression or it may be too much. Some other examples, you know, they've got mix 1. So this is obviously a mix bus. This one here is going to be similar to the last one, except now we're not doing any parallel compression. But again, you check your threshold. But similar settings there, nothing over the top. So there's a, you know, it's a nice compressor, nice layout. It's got some good features on here if you're looking for this sort of blending of the parallel compression style, but even being able to do it in a slightly different way and having some extra control with our sidechain there. That's a nice addition as well, and our auto release, which is variable to the setting we have here. So there you go. That is BussPressor from PSP. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you are interested in the plugin, please go to PSP's website, check it out, grab a demo, try out some of their other plugins while you're there as well. And let me know what you like or didn't like about the plugins in the comments below. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments as well. I'm happy to help wherever I can. If you do like the video, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully it's been helpful. I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.